Tallstar's Revenge, Chapter 22. Let me lead. Dawnstripe's mew was barely a whisper as she padded past him through the darkness. Tallpaw was happy to fall in behind her, staying close enough to feel her tail tip brush his cheek. You could feel Shrewpaw's breath warm on his rump, and Hairflight's solid paws sounding reassuring from the rear. Tallpaw's heart fluttered like a caught sparrow. This tunnel was far bigger than the tunnel he'd walked with Sandgrass. But it was still a tunnel, still a long way from light and space and air. Tallpaw felt the immense darkness pressing around him. His throat tightened until the air seemed too thick to breathe. You're following the footsteps of countless cats. Starclan will keep you safe. Dawnstripe's tail slid ahead. Tallpaw sped up, frightened of losing the feel of its soft tip on his nose. Cold air swirled around him, piercing his pelt. He sensed the huge weight of a rock hanging above his head. Ahead, the distant echo of dripping water hinted at deepness he was frightened to imagine. How long till they reached the moonstone? Steadying his breath, he focused on his paws, trying to relish the solid stone beneath them, constantly stretching his muzzle to keep contact with Dawnstripe's tail. I smell fear scent. Aren't you feeling at home, Warmpaw? Be quiet, Shrewpaw. Hairflight's angry hiss sounded from behind. Tallpaw's mind swirled. He had fought back panic. Every paw step was taking him further from the light. Could he find his way out if the others weren't here? A stream of cold air suddenly buffeted his flank. Nella bellowed from the other side. There must be more tunnels branching off this one, sinking into the earth. Please let me out. A terrified groan welled in his throat. The air around him changed. It became still, the vicious chill easing. Tallpaw halted as Dawnstripe's paws felt silent. We're here, she announced softly, in the cavern of the Moonstone. Shrewpaw pushed past Tallpaw, rocking him on his paws. Where is it? I can't see. Where is it? Where's the stone? There must be a cloud covering the moon. Hairflight's mew. Deep mew sounded close to Tallpaw's ears. Just wait. Tallpaw strained to see through the darkness. His nose twitched as he smelled the familiar scent of heather. Fresh air must be flowing into the cavern from somewhere above them. Suddenly, a beam of silver light sliced through the dark. Tallpaw blinked as it cast a glow over a huge stone in the middle of the cavern. The Moonstone! The surface of the rock glittered like sunshine on water, sending light rippling across the dark walls. Tallpaw backed away, bristling. Don't be afraid. Dawnstripe stepped forward and crouched beside the stone, a silver light drenching her pale golden fur. Come, and touch your nose to it. You too, Shrewpaw. Shrewpaw was circling the stone, his tail spiking. Do we have to touch it? Hairflight stopped beside Dawnstripe. You won't share with Starclan until you do. Shrewpaw padded wearily toward the Moonstone and, hunkering down, stretched his muzzle forward. Tallpaw watched his den mate's eyes close. Shrewpaw's ruffled fur moved out, and his whole body softened as if he had drifted into the best sleep ever. Come on, Tallpaw. Dawnstripe coaxed him forward. Starclan will welcome you. Tallpaw padded closer. His heart seemed to swell in his chest. Will I see Sandgrass or Brackenwing? Hunching beside the rock, he narrowed his eyes against the glare. He took a deep breath and touched his nose to the sharp stone. At once he was plunged into darkness, sucked down by the currents too strong to resist. But somehow there was nothing to be frightened of, and Tallpaw let himself fall until his vision was clear. He felt his paws sink into muddy earth. Rain lashed his pelt and battered his ears. Tallpaw peered through the storm. Was this Starclan? A churned field stretched away on one side, while a hedge pressed on at his other, rattling as a cold wind shook it. Tallpaw saw several solid shapes ahead, ears and tails silhouetted in the rains. Roaches! He recognized their dripping pelts as they trudged beside the hedge, trying to find some shelter from the storm. One by one they climbed over the sinking roots of a lightning-blasted tree. Tallpaw crept after them, ducking under low branches as though he were stalking prey. He halted beside the charred tree and watched them disappear along the trail. This isn't StarClan. This is just a dumb dream. Frustration flared inside him. Where's Sandgross? Curling his claws into the wet earth, he screwed his eyes shut and tried to sleep once more. Darkness engulfed him, and he was swirling through emptiness again. More shapes flashed on the edge of his vision. A tulle-lake, a dense forest, a chattering river, sparkling in sunlight. Tallpaw blinked, opened his eyes, desperate to find himself in StarClan's territory. The moonstone gleamed at the end of his nose. He was back in the cavern. Where was StarClan? Fear wormed in Tallpaw's belly. They hadn't shared anything with him. He backed away from the moonstone, noticing that Shrewpaw was still resting peacefully by the stone. Were the ancestors ignoring him because of Breckenwing? Or was StarClan angry because he hadn't been able to follow in his father's paw steps? Tallpaw's heart twisted. I tried. Dawnstripe blinked open her eyes and stretched. She met Tallpaw's gaze. Did you dream? Before he could answer, Shrewpaw jumped up. Wow, I saw the star and some old cat called, please. Hush! Airflight stared beside him, his mew thick with sleep. You don't share your StarClan dreams with any cat. Dawnstripe nodded. You keep the secrets they share with you in your heart. Unless you're a medicine cat, and StarClan seeks to your clan through you. Airflight stretched, arching his spine and quivering. Dawnstripe padded toward the cavern entrance. Let's go back to the clan. Shrewpaw bounded past her. I'll lead, Dawnstripe called. I don't want you getting lost. Hairfly and Shrewpaw fell in behind her and Tallpaw followed last, glancing over his shoulder at the moonstone. As he headed out of the cavern, the huge rock glittered frostily in the moonlight. A pang tanged at Tallpaw's belly. StarClan, why didn't you share with me? Cold air washed his pals as he stepped into the darkness, trailing a little behind his clanmates. Numbness went into his paws, and Tallpaw had to force himself to keep plodding around, upward, following the scent and sound of his clanmates as they led him out of the hill. Airfly and Shrewpaw were already scrolling down the rocky slope when Tallpaw emerged into the moonlight. I thought we'd lost you, Dawnstripe murmured. She waited for Tallpaw to jump down from the ledge and fell in beside him. Tallpaw walked in silence as they reached the meadows. He hardly felt the wet grass drag along his flanks. All he felt was tiredness growing heavier with each paw step. The sky was turning pale beyond the moortop as they neared the WindClan border. Thunder passed quiet as they crossed it easily, just as Dawnstripe promised. Dawnstripe peered closer at Tallpaw as the ground began to slope upward toward the moor. Are you okay? She prompted. I'm fine. Tallpaw padded past her without meeting her gaze. Just tired. He glanced up the slope to the top of the moor, then back toward the high stones. They seemed to catch fire as the rising sun turned them red, then yellow, then paler and paler against the lightning sky. The jagged peaks loomed over the valley, piercing the clouds to Tallpaw. To Tallpaw, the moor hardly seemed big enough to contain Wind Clan, hemmed by the forest and crushed by the sky, cut off by the river gorge. But this is home. Breaking into a run, he bounded past his campmates and raced downhill towards the camp. The clan was already stirring. Lily Whisker and White Bear yawned at the entrance to their den. The meeting hollow looked crowded as burrow full of rabbits as the clanmates gathered around the reef fire, waiting for his orders for the day's patrol. Tallpaw! Hopkit scrambled across the tucks, stumbling each time his twisted paw buckled underneath him. Did he see the moonstone? He gasped. Dawnstripe. Tallpaw nuzzled his head. The kid's wide, friendly gaze seemed to banish the darkness of Mothermouth. Sorrel Kit raced after her brother, and her gray and brown fur spiked with excitement. She stopped beside Dawnstripe Tallpaw and began sniffing his spout. Her mouth open as she tasted the strange scents he'd brought back. She glanced over her shoulder at Pigeon Kit. He smells funny. Pigeon Kit pushed past her and inspected Tallpaw closely. Your fur's all wet. We've been trekking through long grass, Tallpaw explained. What did you see? Sorrel Kit flicked her short tail. The moonstone? Sorrel Kit widened her eyes. Was it big? Bigger than Tall Rock, and it shone like the stars. Did he touch it? Hopkit leaned back, his fluffy ears perked. You'll have to wait till it's your turn to visit it. Tallpaw was too tired to talk. Isn't it time you had your first taste of mouse? Pigeon Kit puffed out his head. I've already tasted it. So have I, Sorrel Kit announced. Tallpaw spotted a bird on the prey heap. What about Lapwing? He asked. Meadowslips worried we'll swallow the feathers, Hopkit mewed. What if I pluck it for you, Tallpaw offered. Sorrel Kit raised her head. Will you? She squeaked. Come on. He headed toward the prey heap. Pigeon Kit and Sorrel Kit streaked ahead. Wait for me! Hopkit was struggling to keep up, his crooked paw twisting beneath him. Tallpaw turned back and tucked his nose under the black Tom's belly. Hang on, he warned, flipping the kit onto his shoulders. Tallpaw purred as the young kit dug his tiny claws into his belt and carried him over to his litter mates. Bright sunshine turned the distant trees golden. Tallpaw took a step forward, bringing him right to the edge of Outlook Rock. Under the sweep of empty blue sky, he could see sheep and two-legs, dogs and monsters. He could even hear hares sitting in the middle of a distant meadow. The air around him was completely still, as though the world were holding its breath. A black and white dog chasing sheep in the meadow, Tallpaw reported. Dawnstripe shifted behind him. And there are gruses behind the copse. Tallpaw imagined padding beneath the distant trees, new scents baiting his tongue, the grass within stalking distance. Self-wanted. There's a fire in a two-leg place. The scent of smoke touched his nose, and he glimpsed a plume rising from the top of a two-leg nest. Feathers flashed in the sunshine. Tallpaw's gaze flickered toward a hawk that dived out of the sky. The sunshine and Tallpaw's meadow. He He scanned the meadow where it swooped the prey. His paws itched to be there. He could snatch the prey out of the bird's path. Hawk hunting rabbit? I'm impressed. Tallstar got to her paws. You haven't missed a thing. Her pads scuffed the rock. Let's move on to your battle skills assessment. Tallpaw turned from the edge of the rock, dragging his gaze from the distant fields. He followed Dawnstripe to the training ground. The trail was so familiar now that he hadn't had to think about where to put his paws. He thought they were still the hawk. He'd traveled across the meadow it hunted in. Now he's back inside one clan's borders while crouching on a treetop, feasting on its catch, yearning pricked beneath his pelt. What was it like to hunt only for yourself, to have freedom to go wherever you wanted, without borders, boundaries, or codes pinning you down? Tallpaw! Dawnstripe's mew jerked him back. Are you ready? Shrewpaw was waiting in the middle of the clearing with Hairflight. How did Tallpaw do Outlook Rock? The brown warrior asked. He passed the assessment easily, Dawnstripe replied. Good. Hairflight flicked his tail. Shrewpaw hunted well. I'm pleased to hear it. Dawnstripe gestured with her tail to send Tallpaw over to his den mate. Time to test their battle skills, she mouthed to Hairflight. If they perform well enough here, they'll have passed everything. Tallpaw trotted across the grass, Shrewpaw eyeing him belligerently. Tallpaw sighed, wishing his demon weren't so competitive. They could pass this assessment easily if they gave each other a chance to show off his skills. He crouched in the grass, relaxing the muscles along his spine. A warrior moves with ease, not stiffness. Dawnstripe's voice rang in his ears. No claws, no teeth, unless there's a real battle. Fight with your wits as well as your paws. Tallpaw made sure his claws were well sheathed, and kept his gaze fixed on Shrewpaw, bracing himself for his den mate's first move. Ready when you are, he mewed. Shrewpaw narrowed his eyes. Why don't you attack first? If you like. Tallpaw wasn't going to let Shrewpaw unsettle him. He tried to focus. He focused on Shrewpaw's left shoulder and leaped for the right. His feint worked. Wrong-wooted, Shrewpaw staggered sideways. Shrewpaw's eyes blazed. Cheater! It was a fair move. Shrewpaw lunged at Tallpaw. Grasping Tallpaw's shoulders, he kicked a hind paw out from under him. Couldn't move. Tallpaw was impressed and let Shrewpaw roll him onto his side. As soon as their backs were to the mentor, Shrewpaw sank his claws into Tallpaw's pelt. You won't fool me twice, Wormpaw. Tallpaw flinched. No claws, remember? We're training to be warriors, not kids, Shrewpaw hissed in his ear. Tallpaw dug his hind claws into the grass and thrust Shrewpaw backwards. Pain rippled through him as Shrewpaw tugged a lump of fur from his flank. Don't let him put you off. Tallpaw leaped to his paws. Shrewpaw faced him, eyes gleaming. Tallpaw backed away. Let him think he scared me. He felt a twinge of satisfaction as he saw triumph flash in Shrewpaw's gaze. Come on, Wormpaw. Shrewpaw sprang forward. Shrewpaw sprang. Tallpaw glanced at his den mate's paws. His claws were sheathed. For now. He knew that Shrewpaw would be digging them in the moment they were out of sight of Hairflight and Dawnstripe. He leaped sideways. Shrewpaw twisted to counter his move, and Tallpaw shoved his muscle beneath Shrewpaw's belly. Ducking under him, he felt Shrewpaw wither on his shoulders before tumbling to the ground. Tallpaw dropped and rolled in the other directions, scrambling to his paws in time to face Shoepaw as the young Tom jumped up. "That was a coward's move," Shoepaw growled, just loud enough for Tallpaw to hear. "Really?" Tallpaw spat. "It must be one you taught me." Shoepaw curled his lips. "I am going to take a piece of your ear back to camp for that." "I'd like to see you try." Tallpaw lunged at Shoepaw, turning on his forepaws and swirling his hind legs around. He kicked out and sent Shoepaw staggering backward, but Shoepaw recovered quickly and lunged at him. Tallpaw swallowed back as a yoke of claws stabbed his flank. Tipped greased his hind leg and jerked out from under him. Shoepaw hit the ground with a thump. Shoepaw leaped on him. Pain flared white-hot along Tallpaw's spine as Shoepaw pushed his muzzle on and churned his hind legs against his back. Couldn't Dawnstripe see what was going on? Tallpaw pushed the side away. He didn't want Dawnstripe rushing to his rescue as if he were a cat. He twisted his head and clamped his jaws around Shoepaw's foreleg, just enough to grip, careful not to draw blood. "Don't you know any warrior moves?" Shoepaw snarled. I thought better when I was a kid. No wonder you couldn't save your father." Fury roared through Tallpaw, stripping the sense from like wind tearing up heather. Bell thinking, he unsheathed his claws and bit down on Shoepaw's foreleg so hard he tasted the young Tom's blood. Shoepaw screeched and dragged himself free. Tallpaw plunged after him, grabbing him with outstretched claws, hauled him back, flinging him to the ground. He slammed his hind legs to Shoepaw's belly and began battering at him with blows that sent fur flying across the grass. The heather swam at the edge of Tallpaw's vision, and the dark shape of Shoepaw seemed to fade beneath them. In its place, Tallpaw saw the short brown pelt of Sparrow. "You!" He dragged the roach onto his side, dripping blood from his scratched muzzle into the roach's dark, expressionless eyes. "You deserve to die." "Tallpaw!" Dawnstripe's yells seemed to come from far away. A tug of her teeth and Tallpaw's gruff startled him. He felt himself being yanked back, clear off his paws. Shoepaw, Hairflight lunged in front of him, shielding Shoepaw. What in StarClan's name are you doing?" The brown warrior stared at him, horror widening his eyes. Tallpaw blinked. Shoepaw was trembling, bloody and tattered on the ground. "What have I done?" Well, that's the end of Tallstar's Revenge. I hope you enjoyed. There will be hopefully chapter 23 tomorrow. Till next time, I've been Musebird23.